From the NZ Drummer Podcast and AndrewRooneyDrums.com, it's the Student's Guide to Drum Lessons. Here are your hosts, Chris Dawson and me, Andrew Rooney. And we're back.
Hi.
We're back with everybody's favourite drum tutor, Mr. Chris Dawson.
Yeah, everyone's.
We found out about Chris's background and my background. Then we dug in a little bit on what we experienced with teachers ourselves. So now we want to break down why you need a coach.
That's right.
Someone qualified. It's very easy to think of qualification as a piece of paper.
That's right.
But I don't mean that. I mean someone who's, well, the dictionary definition of qualified is a person recognised as being trained to perform a specific job.
Sure. Absolutely.
So a piece of paper doesn't necessarily come into that.
Yeah. So I guess with that, coaches or tutors or whatever you'd like to call them, we already know that there are plenty of people out there that can play really, really amazingly. And you'd love to learn what it is from them, but unfortunately they just aren't very good teachers. They're not very good at passing on information for whatever reason.
And that's not a slight on them as a drummer.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, there are plenty of those guys out there that just can't pass on information. So you've got to find that right guy for a start off. Like as I said previously, I was really lucky with finding my first drum teacher. It doesn't happen that often, I'm sure. You may have to go through a bunch of different people first, you know. We know quite well that you can get a lot of misinformation from some people. You feel like, because if you don't know what you're looking for, then you're just going to take the first person that comes along and if they talk themselves up, how do you know? You don't know what it is. There are some reputable guys out there. Maybe contacting URI is always a good point. You know, maybe you just want to know of a drum teacher. Perhaps you can't come to myself because I'm in Waiuku, for instance, or maybe they can't come to you because you're too busy or whatever it is, but we can put you onto other drum teachers that are good, you know.
I mean, in 2020, there's all kinds of forums around and everybody's got an opinion on things.
They certainly have.
And so there's a lot of advice out there. And that probably was ultimately why I wanted to do this, just to try and be really honest,
Exactly, yeah.
And just, I don't think we're saying, come to us.
That's right.
And we're trying to absolutely load up on lots and lots of students.
Yeah. Just get yourself a good tutor.
Find a good tutor.
And let's go into the reasons why. Why do you need a good tutor? Well, for me, I think I talked about it briefly before. I started learning from books, but I just knew that I needed someone to show me. So, and I've heard like other people never have had a tutor and said that they won't be able to have a tutor or they, just wouldn't work for them for whatever reason. But I think
John Bonham didn't have a teacher.
Yeah, exactly. That sort of scenario. But, we can always go down that path. I'm afraid you're not John Bonham, It would be really amazing if you were John Bonham, but you're probably not.
And it's really dangerous to cite outliers.
Exactly, yeah. So everyone is so different. Your path is different. Your lives are different. You can't just say, well, I'm going to be like this person, that famous drummer, because you're never going to be. I mean, you may even get close to being that person, but you're never going to be that person.
In the end, you wouldn't want to anyway.
No, I mean, what's the point? I mean, you love them for whatever reason, but generally you'd like a bunch of different drummers, so, you can't be all three. But you can mishmash together and you could actually, that's where your influences come from. But I have met a lot of students that have either had bad teachers or have just been learning by themselves, and they have got quite a lot of problems with their playing, whether it's just general techniques, not understanding how to read music, or unusual concepts about things, like I don't need to read because, I just don't. There's no, and you're going, well, reading really helps.
Yeah.
It really does.
There's way too many sort of aspects to what makes up a great teacher to talk about here. But obviously personable and professional and punctual and all those P words.
All the P words.
I mean, I've just heard horror stories from students of mine who were just humiliated or just had such a bad experience that, I mean, one of my students stopped for 20-something years.
Wow.
Because the lessons were so crushing. I'm not going to name any names, but I was speaking to a drummer who everyone in the drum scene in New Zealand would have heard of, and he had the same thing. And he's a big drummer on albums, big tours, and he just got slammed by a drum teacher and just completely turned off the whole idea of getting lessons. And it's just awful.
Yeah, you don't want to have to go through that sort of scenario.
No. An analogy that I'll wrap this up a little bit I go either jogging or walking or running on a certain track every day.
Right.
Okay. Go through these lovely parks that are close to my house, and there's no one on the track ever.
Right.
Maybe there might be a couple of people walking their dogs. And so why am I talking about this? So here's the thing. Every New Year's Day, I notice the tracks are full and the parks are full of people and they're doing exercises.
Sure. Maybe even sort of dwindles in that month.
Oh, and then over that week, by the end of the week, we're back to normal.
Yeah.
I think this sort of captures it perfectly, why someone would need a coach.
Yes.
You've completely set yourself up to fail.
Sure.
You've based all your goals and what you want to do with your exercise in this case
That's right.
on one night's motivation because the date changed.
That's right.
And now that's not enough of a pivot point
Certainly isn't.
to keep going, to trying to get fit or lose weight, which, that's fantastic. I'm never going to laugh at anybody for trying to do that. But the coach can hold you accountable and actually monitor your progress and give you tips.
That's right.
And again, to keep going with my analogy,
Good analogy.
there's exercise equipment
Yeah.
all around this park.
Sure.
Again, awesome. Fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Free exercise equipment. Just jump on, do a circuit. There's people who just don't know what they're doing. And they're doing wild exercises that it's like, oh, please stop.
You're going to hurt yourself.
You're going to really hurt yourself
Yeah.
there, man. And 1st of January, as good a time as any, but you're going to need to have someone who's going to be there with you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or by the 7th of January,
Yeah.
you're back on the couch eating potato chips.
That's right. Because, obviously that good coach or tutor is going to give you the motivation throughout the year. Each lesson, it's a big talk up, really, isn't it, when you've got your student in there and and it's like, okay, yes, you've done really well. Let's move on to this next thing.
Yep.
That sort of thing.
Next thing, yeah.
And having that person there is really important,
Or you can push yourself a bit more here.
Yeah.
Or let's back that off, It's always good to remember, did Michael Jordan have a coach? Usain Bolt, All Blacks, everybody.
Everyone's got a coach.
Any field, high achievers or...
That's right. They've got someone there.
It's either a mentor, coach, trainer, whatever label you want to give it. And again, if we've sold you on the idea of a coach,
Yes.
you can reach out to Chris at chris.jazzdrummer@gmail.com. I'm at andrewrooney.drums.com or andrewrooney.drums@gmail.com. And next time we're going to talk about gear.
Gear. We love gear.
Yeah! I don't know if I'll keep that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.